Welcome to this session of the USME Centers. This is a webinar that will focus on the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China Business Confidence Survey 2017. But before we start, let me please introduce you very briefly the USME Center. The USME Center is a European-funded project that has the aim to help European SMEs to get ready to do business with China. And it's implemented by 6 partners. They are the China-Britain Business Council, it's also the French Chamber of Commerce in China, BenCham, Eurochams, based in Brussels, the Italian Chamber of Commerce, and the European Chamber in China. As this today we are going to present you the Business Confidence Survey of the European Chamber. Please also let me give you some words on the European Chamber of Commerce. It's the independent voice of European businesses in China, and it seeks the greater market access for European businesses in China, as well as trying to improve operating conditions for all companies here in China. It was founded in 2000 by 51 companies and nowadays has over 1,600 members in 7 chapters, that's 9 cities. It's a non-profit organization. That means that the European Chamber does not receive any kind of subsidy or money from any government. It's totally a membership-driven organization, and is recognized by the European Commission and the Chinese authorities as the official voice of European businesses in China. Now let me introduce you the speaker of today, Mr. Máximo Bañasco. He is the Vice President of the European Chamber. He has a long history here in China. He is the Managing Partner of Progetto CMR, an Italian architectural and urban planning design company. And he's been in China already since 2008. He's been very involved in the European Union Chamber of Commerce, as chair and vice chair alternately of the construction working group, but he's also been involved in other areas of the European Chamber and also EU-China relations, for example the SME sector, innovation, and also everything related to urbanization in China. Since 2013 he's been the state representative of the European Chamber, the board of the European Chamber, and since last May he's been elected as vice president of the European Chamber. And now please let me pass the floor to Mr. Bañasco.
Okay, thank you, Xavier, for your introduction, and it's my great pleasure to talk to you about the founding of our Business Confidence Survey. Business Confidence Survey is one of the most important papers of the Chamber. We issue it annually, and it collects the mood, the feeling, and the member companies about their operation in China. Let's start to discuss about how it's done. The confidence survey is done by 57 questions that we build up together with our consultant, Roland Berger, and we pay particular attention to the consistency and comparability between this year one and the previous one. This year, the period of execution was of 3 weeks, along the last week in February and beginning of March, and we had a response rate of 44% among the eligible members. And basically, it's aligned with the reply that we had the year before. We can say that the number of companies that reply, that is totally 566, are well distributed along our member, because we have a professional service and industry that cover over 1/3 for each one, and then consumer goods and other company are the last third of the responded company. About the size of the company, we have a large representation of the small-medium enterprise that are over half of the responding one, and then the other part is mainly by the large multinational corporations that are an important component among our members. If we also consider how long time this company spent in China, we can see that most of the company are companies that have already been in China for over 10 years. So they have a quite long experience about China, and this allows them also to understand how the business environment in China changed along all this period. And now let's talk about the key finding of our survey. The 5 key takeaways that we have in our survey are basically a good result that our member mentions. Companies improve the financial result, but not just because the market is better, but because they apply a very, very strong and well-organized cost control internally, and also because the Chinese government really unleashed a very important stimulus plan along the first half of 2016. In the same time, the anti-corruption policy done by the Chinese government was a very bright spot also this year. And on the other side, we have still some issue about this connection of state reform and the concrete implementation that were taken especially at local level. A very important topic is about the European investment. Our member clearly mentioned that they could increase substantially the investment in China if they could have a better market access in China. And this one is really important to understand how is the trend of our companies. Here as well the trend of the market. And innovation is our key topic. Innovation is one of the keywords for China development along the next 30 years. And we find out that our member realized that the Chinese company are getting more and more competitive in this field, especially if we look to go-to-market solution and the ability that they have to find really the way to immediately commercialize some product or some new ideas. Last but not least, a very important point is about the comprehensive agreement of investment that is under negotiation since a few years between the European Union and China. And this agreement on the investment is, in our member opinion, really important and fundamental to have a better opening up of the market and offer reciprocity about the access that the European company has in China comparing to what the Chinese company has in Europe nowadays. And we will see also the figures about the huge gap that we had along last year of the decreasing of the European investment in China, while the Chinese one increased over 75% from the year before. Going more into details, now we will go through several slides where we can see some specific information about each question. The first one is about the revenue. So how can our companies compare the revenue they had in 2016 with what was in 2015? And as I mentioned before, if we look to the overall figures, so between the increase substantially, that means more than 20%, of the increase 5 to 20%, we have a good result from this point of view because it shows that the trend is good. But as I mentioned before, we should also look to the reason why. It's not just a reason because the market is better, but it's also because our company has experience about how to manage also difficult situation. And looking into the different sectors, here we can really find a very important data, because what we had along last year, it's not the same situation in all the sectors. We have a sector like food and beverage or like the hospitality where we had important result, but we have also sector where we suffer a lot along last year. And I'm especially referring to transportation, logistics and distribution, as well as also all the sector related to the real estate. And so both, if we talk about services, so civil engineering services design, as well as if we talk about the construction material and all the supply related to the real estate market. And so in this way, in this next slide, we can see more in detail for the sector that I mentioned before, how is the resulted EBIT of the company. And basically is aligned with the previous slide, because we can see that the company who had more issue are again the company related to the real estate market, as well as also the company related to the environment. Environment sector is a booming sector in China, but it's also a sector who is paying a lot the consequences of the restriction in market access and in the access especially of technology with high-end innovation. Meanwhile, we have again a good result in the aerospace and hospitality sector, as well as medical devices. Healthcare is a booming sector in China, although again we have a very, very strong restriction about the opportunity to have a full access, but we can just get into very specific niche. So if we talk about how the business in China developed for our company last year, the overall figures are similar to the previous year, but we have a slightly higher number of the company that said that the condition was almost the same. What we can see is a trend looking from 2014 to this year, where we see that the company, let's say that the market, the business become easier, is getting smaller and smaller. And this is, in my opinion, the most important data that we should analyze in this slide. The next one is made a breakdown for the different sectors. And the sector are definitely those one that I mentioned before. We can see clearly that for the civil engineering and construction, 79% of the members said that the business had become more difficult, so it's a matter of fact, as well as for hospitality and food and beverage. For the hospitality sector, I have to say that is a matter of access to the market, while for the civil engineer, all related to the real estate market, is an overall trend of the market in China. Important question was also related to the trend of the company about cutting cost. We said that in this one was one of the action that several companies took in order to face the difficulties that they had every day. And if we look the gap and how it increased from 2013 till nowadays, we can see that 16% more of the companies said they were going to cut cost to be able to run their activity in a profitable way, or at least to reach a break-even point. The section number 2 is related to the lack of progress in the reform agenda that was launched by the Central Party some years ago under the trend of this new normal trend, so more attention to the rule of law and attention to the reform in order to give a new boost to the economy development. Well, we can see that there are several obstacles for the operation of our company. We gave the chance to our member to choose among 3 main topic of that, and definitely one of the main topic is related to the ambiguous rule and regulation. When we have administrative rules and unpredictable legislation. So, and even the fourth one, discretionary enforcement of the regulation, all these topics are anyway along the same fil rouge, that is the matter of the unclarity and predictability of the rules, of the implementation also of the rule, and the different application that sometimes we have from province to province or from central level to local one. Very straight question was about this third plenum declaration about the rule of law, about a level playing field, and we can see again that our members are less confident, and they have a feeling that was not fully implement what was supposed to be, and nowadays we have more and more members that consider that is not nowadays not possible to have a level playing field, and was not done enough to ensure that. Important to say is about the feeling that our company has comparing with a local Chinese company, in order to explain how do they feel about their operation, how do they feel if they have to compete with a local company. Again, in this case, we have a trend of a reduction of the company that answer that they feel more treated in a better way than the Chinese way, while the number of the company that feel treated in a different or unfair way is anyway over 50% as it was last year. Of course, our expectation is to reach one day the answer that we feel equally treated. We don't expect to have preferential rules or implementation of different legislation and regulation from the local company, but we expect just to play with the same rules in a level playing field. It's very important then if we analyze also this answer according to the difference that there are between the Chinese state-owned enterprise, the private Chinese company, and the foreign investment company. This is a very important data because in some way we can see how our member anyway consider that the Chinese company are in some way enjoy better condition, but especially also the state-owned enterprise enjoy better condition, comparing with also the private Chinese company. And it's also quite similar the trend that we have about all the city, all the chapter of our chamber in China that you can see in this slide represented. We have just a quite large difference in some way if we look to Tianjin, where we have a very, very strong difference for the reply, for the answer for the foreign company, while another data important is when we look to the southwest of China, but from the opposite side it's completely different. This is a kind of information data that we will find out also later on, where we will see that the southwest China, that basically means the area of Sichuan province, Chongqing and Shanxi, are areas where the foreign investment can be developed better, and there are most welcome policy and also environment for them. So a straight question was to our member, so how do they feel according their business experience when they are in China. And as I anticipated you before, if we look to southwest of China, we can see that anyway a large number of companies, so 35% of them, they feel even better, more welcome than when they started their operation in China. While if we go to the more developed area of China, so if we look to the east coast or if we look to the main city, we can see that the trend of the company that feel less welcome is much, much more. So where we have a more mature market, the company have the feeling that the overall environment is less welcoming than before. In the attention to the current administration of China in the last 3 years, so which one of this activity, this action, this task that they have, we feel that the Chinese government was more successful. Definitely is the anti-corruption action that they take. That I mean, a large number of our members feels that the government even get over our expectation, while we feel that especially the reform of the state-owned enterprising is a topic where there is still a weak implementation of what we were supposed to see after the third plenum. The golden age, so the really favorite time for the development in China of the business of the company, it's a clear trend that especially for the multinational corporation, we saw a trend where we can consider that the company are losing confidence about the future development. They feel less, positive. They feel that in some way the best time is gone, while they consider especially that the Chinese state-owned enterprise, this is a very important data, since a number of 52% that they have in 2015 and 16, they have a huge jump ahead in the number of respondents that said that they are in some way more favorite and they are enjoying a better situation than before. While for the private companies, it's almost stable and equal to 2015. The overcapacity, it's a very important topic. The Chamber issued at the beginning of this year a report to also at the beginning of last year, a report to show how several sectors in China were facing problems related to overcapacity. One of the sectors was related to the real estate, where we have overcapacity in steel, in cement, in glass for facade, as well as other sectors as the chemical. And this is also reported in this data, because we can see that primarily the sector where our company feel that the offer is over the request, and the request is not just the demand of a local market, but is also the demand of a foreign market, are basically those one. And we have also a trend that is quite important to analyze in sector related to logistic and even into the automotive market. The IPR topic is very important for the small medium enterprise, especially because several of these companies, they have very high-end technology, very special topic that should be protected and well recognized by the authority. What the result of our member answer is basically that the regulation in China are really developed quite a lot, and we also had 3 new courts dedicated especially to the intellectual property rights issue. But the problem nowadays is still the implementation, especially at local level, where there are still weakness and where there is also a lot of work still to be done. The foreign trade zone started with the Shanghai one, that was the first pilot zone, then other 3 came out, and recently the Chinese government also promoted the new one, are an important topic, but we can see, even if it's already some year past, and so the warm-up period for the trade zone is almost gone, that there is no much interest and confidence among the members to relocate there or to open a new plant or a new office over there, because also the implementation of the regulation of the real effective advantage that the company could enjoy in this free trade zone is not as much as we were expecting before. Going to the third section, in this part we analyze the answer related to the feeling of the market access opportunity in China. And the first question was related also to the reciprocity. Reciprocity is a key word in the trade relationship and discussion and negotiation between European Union and China, and this is clearly also expressed by a result of the answer of our member, where the large majority of them said that the market access is the most important issue that they face in China related to reciprocal access to the different market, as well as we talked before, a discriminatory enforcement of the rule of law and regulation, because it's the other topic. We have several good regulations, not only just about the IPR protection, but also about the operation, the acquisition of subsidies, the access to the market, that are not well implemented in China. And so if we look at the trend about the feeling of our member about the openness of the market, we can see that unfortunately the trend of them is that the market is basically the same as before, and we are losing the confidence on the opening up. We saw more opening up, activity and procedure and result years ago. Then this data, especially since last year, dropped down quite sensibly to a percentage of just 4%. And if we go to analyze the different sectors to understand better which sector feel to have a better access or not, as I mentioned before, we can have 2 sectors, as the hospitality and the environment, where the company, although before they register quite tough situation, they here declare that they have quite a significant opening up in the market since last year, while other sectors are definitely not so confident about this one, and they even realize a completely different trend, so a closing up of the market. One of the most important in this case is the IT and the telecoms. In this regard, the Chinese government issued recently quite few regulations that really create a number of issues for our company. We talk about the cyber security law and other law for national security that in any case go to touch also sectors that are not directly related to national security issue. The other one is the legal sector. The legal sector it's in quite in some way a sector where all along this year we had always issue because the barrier to the operation of our lawyer are almost stable and same all along this year, and we didn't see any concrete improvement from this point of view. RID, as we mentioned before, innovation is a key driver for the development of China to also upgrade the development from a quantitative-oriented one to a quality-oriented one. And so we asked our member to answer the question about who among them has already a research and development center in China, and among this one, who is willing to increase its investment in China. And we can see that the trend is a trend where our members said that they are not going to increase the investment. And we can read this data in a two different ways, because maybe it could be related to the fact that they already invested before, but on the other side could be also related to the fact that the situation, the operational way, the environment in China is getting more unfriendly, and we can also find motivation to think about this reason if we look to the answer to the following question when we ask them to define if China is the top destination or among the top 3 or the top 5 in the world for the investment. And we see that since time before, China was the main destination, while now this data is decreasing and China basically became among the top 3. So it's important to say that China is really still one of the top destinations, but is not the main one as before. And especially we can see that it's a destination for the companies that are in some way already present or are really going to come in the market quite soon. The other section was an analysis about the competition and the relationship with the Chinese private company, because it's a matter of fact that we have to analyze our strengths, our weaknesses, especially also in a relationship with the operation of our competitor. And what we realize asking to our member is that the Chinese company are really getting innovative, and it's a matter of fact that they can also enjoy in some way different procedure, different speed also. The private company, again, please pay attention to this data, that can make them really competitive in this market. And so we saw an increased number of members that respond that the Chinese company are getting more and more innovative. So this gap about the low level of innovation since last year is getting more and more smaller. And if we look to the different sector, in this case we are looking to the consumer goods and services, we can see that the main strength of the Chinese company is into the go-to-market innovation and the business model innovation, while they still have some weakness in the product and service innovation. If we talk about industrial goods and services, again, the go-to-market innovation is the main topic where our company feels that the Chinese really did a step ahead and they are becoming more and more competitive. This one we do believe it's also related to a local environment where in some sectors we are still a not clear regulation, even we don't have a regulation, so the private entrepreneurship can act in a quick way and find very, very important and innovative solution that they can go to the market with a very fast and concrete speed. The last section, as I mentioned, is about the comprehensive agreement on the investment. The comprehensive agreement on the investment, in our eyes, it's really the tool that can help China to move ahead from the old system, the old economic development system, jumping over the middle income trap and reaching a new sustainable economic growth. To reach this one, there should be important implementation about the new regulation, about reform, about a level playing field that could ensure the right competition among all the market players that really will benefit the market and the economy for the development of the country. So in this way, if we look to the result of the question about the expanding opportunity of the market in China, we can see that the result is almost similar to the last year, but if we look just back to 4 years before, when 86% of our members were saying that they were going to consider China as an expanding market, now only half of them have this kind of feeling and answer, while almost half of the members think that it could be potentially not, or they are not sure it will be. And this is also related to the number I was mentioning you before. I mean, European investment to China last year reached the figure just of 8 billion euro. That means a 23% decrease on year-to-year base comparing to 2016. The opposite side of the coin is if we look to the Chinese investment to Europe, that reached 35 billion euros, so more than 4 times more, and so an increase on year-to-year base of 77%. There is definitely a matter on this data because, of course, Chinese economy is booming, so it's predictable that the Chinese investment to Europe can go up, but this huge gap between the two trends is something important because the decrease of the European investment is a matter of fact. The company are going to invest in other parts of the world, and also if we compare with the European investment to US, where we have around 200 billion euro, there is a huge gap. So, of course, the US is more mature market, so nowadays we cannot compare both markets together, but we have to take in consideration these figures, that is 20 times more. Very important to say is about the opportunity that our member will have if China could be a more open market with a more level playing field and with more access. They will have definitely the willing to invest more in China. So when we consider about the market, about also the increasing cost in China, cost increasing in the term of labor law, labor force, and many other side costs, this is not the main reason why our company are investing less. Our company investing less because they would expect to have better condition. And so this is the very important point that we are keeping on replicating to the Chinese official. A better market access will really allow to the European company to invest more and to enjoy a better market condition between all the sides. And this one can be seen also in the slide where we basically ask to our member to so understand which one are the major issues related to the market access to the comprehensive agreement on the investment, and basically is the regulatory environment in China that is too complicated and it's not predictable. It's something that will not allow them to have a clear plan for the future. If we talk about especially the multinational corporation, but also for a small medium enterprise, it's very important because for companies who are small and also has a limited finance, to have a clear understanding of what could be the future, at least from the regulatory plan level, it's a condition that is fundamental, as well as also have full access to the market for in their product line.
Thank you very much, Massimo, for this presentation. You have given a very good analysis, very granular analysis of what's the business climate here in China. And this is very important for SMEs, especially when they're planning to come to China, to understand that the Chinese market is a difficult market and they need to prepare for this market. That it's not that they will come here, they will find 1 billion customers but without doing anything. They have to well prepare to come to China and understand that not all the sectors are open, not all the sectors are easy to do business. And although we've seen that the members of the European Chamber here in China, they declared they were optimistic about growth. They have presented good financial results. Although this optimism about growth and financial results probably would be better if the market access barriers in China were lifted, the reforms, economic reforms promised by the Chinese government were really implemented. There would be more opportunities for European companies here in China. But as I said, it depends also, you have to check each sector. There are sectors that are quite open, sectors that present a lot of opportunities, like the environment sector.
Consumers good sector, of course, is among the quantity of the Chinese population, and also if we consider anyway that the middle class power to spend and revenue are increasing, it's definitely important. As I said, the also education and healthcare sector are definitely sector where we as European could bring a lot of about our know-how for the management, about our technology, about the overall activity in this sector, but these two sectors especially are really strictly regulated by the government, and so are sector where we have to work to ensure a better condition and a wider operation for our companies.
Two of the takeaways also I take from your presentation is European companies are still ahead in innovation terms, although it looks like the perception that the European companies have is that maybe the Chinese companies, or especially private companies, will close the gap in a few years, but we still are ahead. And the other thing I take also from your presentation is that a strong investment agreement between the European Union and China with clear and robust commitments on market access would create opportunities for both European and Chinese companies, especially for European companies here in China, because that would mean the opening of the sectors that maybe they are now closed, restricted, and creating level playing field. And this would help to create more opportunities. Thank you very much, Massimo.
Yeah, just a small remark on this one, because I do believe it's really an important point we should understand. I mean, the importance of the comprehensive agreement of investment is really on both sides, because it will create really clear rules for everyone, and it will help a lot also the cooperation between the Chinese company that could be also investor, could be co-partner of our SME in Europe, to have access to the new market in China. This is really an important tool that could be beneficial for both sides. And about the innovation, again, also we can find very important synergy on this one. As we said, the Chinese are more innovative in the last step, so in the go-to-market solution, in finding the best way to get into this market, that we as European SME maybe don't know deeply. And so we should have also take the advantage of cooperating with them. On the other side, from the technological point of view of the innovation, we really have advantages that we should protect, but the best way also to protect our IPR, our know-how, is really to continue to innovate, because we can have even the best regulation tool, but if we don't keep to innovate, we will be copied everywhere in the world, not just in China.
Thank you very much, Massimo, for this presentation. If you have any questions, you can send an email to the USME Center. Massimo and myself will try to answer the questions as soon as possible. And just for conclude, let me remind you that we have published some publications related to the topics we discussed today. We have one publication on understanding China's turnover tax system, another one on company administrative and reporting rules in China, and tax liability for non-resident enterprise engaged in service provision. Also, would like to remind you of the achievements of the USME Center. We have a strong content and expertise. We have more than 140 market reports, guidelines, and case studies that you can find on our website. And we have an experts here that answer your questions. You only have to go to our website and press the button on Ask the Expert. And we also have about 10,000 registered users, and every month it's increasing about 200 users per users. We organize trainings both in Europe, in China. We organize already more than 400 trainings, and we organize webinars like today. And we also are very well connected. We are part of the European network, enterprise network. We also have a strong network of experts, and we have partners both in Europe and in China that help us with our work. And here finally you have our QR if you want to follow us on WeChat, our website. We thank you very much for this session, and again, Massimo, thank you very much for the webinar.
Thank everyone for your attention, and I wish it could be helpful for you to evaluate about the opportunity you have in China and the opportunity to expand your business in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.